You could be anywhere,
You could be watching anything,
but you're here with us.
and you've made a great choice.
With that being said, welcome to Raw. I'm Alex Goodwin.
And I'm Deandre Nicholson. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Raw is the home of honest, unsanitized commentary on topics in sports, politics, culture, and social issues.
If you've come to hear some real talk, this is the show for you.
Deandre, I have to warn him. Raw is not for the weak of heart. Let me reiterate to you right now, Raw is not for the weak of heart. So if you think you can handle it, buckle up your seatbelts and fasten them tight, because it's about to get raw.
Man.
Raw. Before the show started, our great producer, Michael West, wrote down some current events topics and he put them in a hat. And we're gonna pick out these topics, we're gonna read them, and we're gonna discuss them. I don't know what's on these cards. Deandre, do you know what's on them?
I don't know.
This is like Russian roulette. Let's get started. Deandre, do the honors.
All right. Your thoughts on Johnny Manziel's domestic incident? I'm taking that one. All right. Well, no woman deserves to be beat down like some animal, or have a man half her size put his hands on her. And for Johnny, this is what, the 16th offense, and it seems like they get worse and worse as time goes on. So, you know, everybody wants him to have a real opportunity with a real team, but until Johnny gets out of this, whatever this situation is that he's going through in his life, that's when he's going to be able to mature as a man, mature as a football player, and get to the level of excellence that everybody knows he can play at. But he's always had issues, and not trying to take away from him, but everybody has issues. But at some point, you have to learn how to deal with those issues. And it seems like he doesn't. I don't know if his parents don't have control over him, or if there's not anybody mentoring him in the league. That's why I say he needs to be with the right team and the right owner, so somebody can sit him down and tell him, this is not how you should behave. If you're going to be the franchise player of an NFL team, you're going to have to get some act right in you. And he doesn't have that right now.
As far as I'm concerned, I read the police report. I read all the information they made available. And from everything that I read, it sounds like he needs to be arrested. They said he ruptured this woman's eardrum, and she filed an order of protection against him. I'm sorry, if you rupture somebody's eardrum, you got to go downtown. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Yeah. And the second thing that I think bothers me, is a little bit disturbing, is how silent everybody is about this. Yeah. Last year, I mean, this story came out, and everybody's been quiet as a church mouse. Last year, I thought we all had our road to Damascus moment about domestic violence.
With with
Ray Rice.
Ray Rice.
When, in fact, almost 2 years ago, in fact, when we saw a video of him dragging his wife out of an elevator, nobody said a word. 7 months later, when we see the video inside the elevator of what actually happened, everybody claims to be shocked and appalled, like they didn't have the slightest idea of what really happened. What did everybody think happened? They thought she bumped her head. Fast forward to Greg Hardy. For a year and a half, all of this information was available. And everyone knew what he had done. Yet when pictures came out, then everybody's sensibilities are offended. Everybody's upset. When you knew good and well what he did. And not with Johnny Manziel, it appears the same thing is happening again. So truth be told, when everybody gets upset when this video or some kind of visual evidence comes out, because in the age we live in, the information is gonna come out. Yeah. I don't want to hear a word from anybody. I don't want to hear it, because truth be told, this is how I feel. If you need to see pictures to care about something, I think it's pretty fair to say you never cared about it in the first place. Yeah.
But you can look at the woman, because it's in the police report, isn't it?
The pictures.
The pictures of her.
They don't make pictures like that available.
Okay, well, I'm sure if somebody's seen her, you can tell she went through something, and it's just really now to the point where Johnny needs to step out of the limelight, and he needs to go away for a while, a year, 2 years maybe. He gets himself together, check into rehab. Just start rebuilding himself, rebuilding his brand, and get to where he needs to be, to where he can come back and be a positive influence on the young people today. Because domestic violence isn't going away, and it seems like it's getting more prevalent among professional athletes. So until one of them steps up, and it's gonna have to be somebody with a lot of juice in the league or the NBA or anybody, and they say, well, this would not be tolerated, and it's gonna take somebody perhaps losing their job or being, banned from the league or something like that. The MLB still hasn't forgiven Pete Rose, and he bet on the game.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take something serious to where the professional athletes of this world are gonna have to realize where beating women, not to go to Adrian Peterson, but beating children, that will not be tolerated, because it's a terrible act, and nobody deserves to have their eardrum punctured and all that. So
let's move on to the very next topic. The idea for reparations for African Americans has been proposed in this election. Your thoughts? I'll start with you again.
We've been hearing about this for quite a while now, but it seems now that in this election, it's becoming more and more of an influence. So I feel as though it's one of those things where it's gonna take. I feel as though we shouldn't be worried about it right now. We should be worried about getting the right person in office to fix the right issues, and somebody that's gonna stick to what their plan was and what they said they were gonna do. Whether that's Bernie Sanders, Ben Carson, Hillary Clinton, and the guy with the hair and got all the money. So, your thoughts?
When it comes to the idea of reparations, I'll just say flat out, that's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
For two reasons. Reason number one is, in the last 10 to 15 years, white people have made a concerted effort to try to change the narrative of slavery, romanticize slavery.
You can see it in the school books.
Yes, exactly. To your point, they're trying to, in Texas, they're trying to take the word slavery out of the history book. They're trying to replace it with a proxy like African workers and make it seem as if
it was just good
and make it seem as if they filled out a job application to come to America. I've seen children's books where there are slaves baking cakes and smiling, or there are slaves planting flowers, like they're frolicking through the grass, like this is a good old fun time.
Yeah.
And they're not acknowledging the fact that the institution of slavery was the greatest atrocity America has ever seen.
Exactly.
And the second reason why that's never going to happen is, do you have any idea how much money that's going to cost?
Exactly.
The United States has paid out settlements to Native American groups for pushing them off of their lands and onto reservations in Oklahoma and other places. And they paid out other settlements to the Japanese for placing them in internment camps during World War II. And those settlements were pretty hefty. But the settlement but for African Americans, try triple that. This is going to be at least in the billions.
We're talking about over 400 years.
At least in the billions.
They're going to have to come off some money.
And
it's not going to happen.
That's why I feel like reparations is never going to happen, because paying out that kind of money will kind of admit that we're, as white people, they've done something wrong,
and they're not willing to do that.
And giving out billions, maybe trillions of dollars to African Americans, that they're just not going to pay out that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're not. And it's just one of those things where, we're going to have to move on from that. It was a good idea in the 90s, in the 1900s. It was a good idea then, but now we have bigger issues to deal with. So that's just one of those things. You know, they like you said, they're trying to take slavery out and make it into this, like it was just a big long vacation for everybody. Like everybody was having the best time of their lives, when in actuality, it was one of the worst times in American history, if not the worst time. And young people aren't gonna get, they're not gonna fully get that unless their parents are teaching them or grandparents are around to tell them about those type of issues.
Absolutely. Let's move on to our final topic of the day.
You got it.
I'll take it. Donald Trump won the New Hampshire primary. What has been the key to his campaign success? I'll start off on this one. I'll take it. When Donald Trump announced he was running for president about 8 or 9 months ago, I was pretty fascinated. I wanted to see this. I wanted to see how long this was going to last. And I must admit to you, I am shocked. I'm shocked that he's kept this up this long. And because truth be told, when it comes to actual policy, all we know this man wants to do is build a wall along the Mexican border. This so-called stop illegal immigration. But in order to really, if you really want to build a wall to stop illegal immigration, you have to build a wall at the Mexican border, at the border of the Pacific Ocean, at the border of the Atlantic Ocean, and at the border, at the Canadian border, if he really wants to stop illegal immigration. But to answer the question, the key to his success has been he has targeted the poor, working class, uneducated white voter, which statistics have shown is the most bigoted voting bloc in America. So he's gone after his target market very well. Everything he said, everything he's done, it's played to them. And if you look at most of his supporters are white supremacists.
Yeah.
So that has been the key, I must say, to Donald Trump's success. He's played to the racist sensibilities of poor white people.
My first time hearing about this was in the 2012 election, when he said he was going to run there, but he never got around to doing it. And then when they said, I thought this time was going to be the same. It was a big joke. It was a big ploy, you know. But now, as time progresses and we get closer and closer to the election, you see how serious it is, and you see the momentum that he's building up right now. And what's scary, and I think what attributes to his success is how blunt he is, because he's saying what they believe, and they don't. And the working class, poor white Americans, they don't have that platform, but he does, and he's not blatantly, he's not expressing what they feel, but it's in some sort of code, I would say.
He's not even using code. I'd argue he's not even using code.
Not even using code, but he's giving them the platform for their ideas and their beliefs and their values, in a sense, to be expressed to the American people. And you know, we always hear people say, I'm looking for somebody real. You know, I'm looking for somebody who keeps it 100. And not to give Donald Trump any credit, but that's what he's doing. And that's giving him momentum
with that voting bloc.
With the voting bloc. And and white supremacists, it's a big group, it's a lot of them. And if he has them behind him, that's going to cause some issues in these elections. So I think the rest of the American people are going to have to get behind a candidate who truly express what they believe, who are about the American people, and who want nothing but than to bring equality and to bring success back to America.
I mean, I'll finish by saying this. I don't think there's a candidate that can, if Trump gets the nomination, he's going to get washed in the general election. He's going to get washed, because there's no way a candidate can offend the fastest rising population in this country and still win the election.
Yeah.
If 25, 30 years ago had he said this about Hispanics, he'd have been fine. But now, with the high influx of minorities, not just black people, but Hispanics and Asian Americans, they need those votes to win.
Yeah.
The white vote won't just win the election anymore. Yeah. And that's what point blank period.
Yeah. So without that, he's not going to get in office. But you know, that's that on Trump. We'll see where it takes him. We'll see where he gets.
Absolutely. We are going to our final segment of the show today. It's my favorite segment of the show.
I guess you talking about you got to do better.
You're right about that.
Alex, who in the world is acting up and needs a little get right in them?
Deandre, I'll tell you. This week it goes out to conservative talk show host Ben Shapiro. Last week, on what would have been Trayvon Martin's 21st birthday, Shapiro took the time out of his day to tweet that Trayvon would have been alive today had he have not banged a man's head up against the sidewalk. Really? Really? Trayvon Martin isn't dead because he banged a man's head up against the sidewalk. He's dead because a lunatic named George Zimmerman made the conscious decision to chase him down, follow him, pick a fight with him, and then when Trayvon Martin defended himself, which was his constitutional right, he shot him. None of this would have happened had George Zimmerman have stayed in his vehicle as he was instructed to do. Ben Shapiro is dead wrong on this. Dead wrong on this. So for that, Ben Shapiro, you've got to do better. And, whoo, look at the time. That is our show for today. Deandre, it's been a pleasure, my brother.
Already, you know how we do.
I'm Alex Goodwin.
I'm Deandre Nicholson.
This has been Raw, and we'll see you next time.